All right, so we got some new polling information here. This is from Leger, and Polling Canada posted on X, and the Conservatives are back up to a pretty substantial lead here at 43%, 30% for the Liberals. NDP, they're just taking a major hit right now at 13%, Bloc at 6%, so they're underperforming a bit. Greens at 4%, People's at 2%. And we go to 338, we break it down a little bit more here. So again, show the same numbers and then break down by region. So you're seeing Atlantic Canada, they're still favoring those Liberals. Quebec is actually in a virtual three-way tie. Liberals at 29, Conservatives at 29, but the Bloc's right there at 28. So that's very interesting. Then you have Ontario, 11-point lead with 44%. So that's good news. We all know Alberta, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan's going to dominate for the Conservatives. In BC, they're almost at 50%. But it's this province right here, my so-called lovely province of Ontario, that's an 11-point lead. And most of these 33% of the vote are going to come from, Toronto, some areas in Ottawa, Hamilton here. You're going to see the majority of those votes come in big cities. And yes, big cities do have a lot of ridings. Liberals will win quite a few ridings here in Ontario, unfortunately, but outside of the big cities, it's going to be pretty much a Conservative sweep, other than maybe, a couple. I think the Greens win one seat out in Western Ontario, but nothing really to worry about there, so that's great news. Out west, it's going to be a bloodbath. Then you have breakdown by gender, and still, even with the females, the Conservatives are leading by 7 points up to 37%, 18% for the NDP, 30% for the Liberals. And look at the male voters. Almost a 20-point lead here. 49% for the Conservatives, 30% for the Liberals, and only 8% for the NDP. It looks like men all across the board are just saying, hey, we're done with the NDP. If you're a male on the left, well, you're probably going to vote Liberal. I mean, Jagmeet Singh has given people nothing, right? I mean, he's just getting slaughtered right now, and it's funny to see. I don't like that people are going over to Liberals, but it is funny to see this little yellow or orange number, whatever you want to call it, just continue to fall like crazy. It's pretty funny. And then we have the age breakdown. So 18 to 34 years old, 42 to 26. That's a 16-point lead for the Conservatives. So looks like the young people are waking up. 35 to 44, yep, that's going to be pretty much what we expected at 49% Conservative. It's basically a 25-point lead right on the dot. NDP, man, just taking another big hit. Then 55-year-old plus, this is where the Liberals basically have most of their support. 40% for the Conservatives, 36% for the Liberals, and only 10% for the NDP. Now, what's interesting here is when you break it down by the age group and the provincial region, you look at where Liberals are doing the best. So it's 55-year-old plus, and then in Atlantic Canada and Quebec. Because I know a lot of you comment, and hey, I am conservative, and all my boomer friends and family are conservative. What's going on? It's from Eastern Canada, and it's boomers from Eastern Canada, right? Like, let's be honest. There's not a whole lot of boomers out west who are liberals because they have a brain, and I don't think they're being bought and paid for by subsidies. Where if you're in Alberta, you're basically getting hit with these equalization payments, where you got to give money from your economy over to Ontario and Quebec. So I think that's really where it's coming from. It's not boomers out west; it's boomers out east. Although that may seem pretty obvious to be fair. But this is good news, right? And, Leger seems to be one of those polls that hasn't really bought the liberal manipulation or whatever you want to call it. They've always had the Conservatives ahead. It's been a little bit closer, right? But if we go back to their last poll, let's go back up here. All right, so they came out with one on
every time a new list
on February 22nd, and it was still a 9-point lead, but has gone up to 13 points now. So basically, it's Leger, Abacus, and Innovative, who are all showing a pretty substantial conservative lead. But then you have Nanos, which is showing a minor conservative lead. Ipsos and Ecos are now showing a liberal lead. So one thing we do know is there's going to be some polling companies who lose a little bit of credibility here, because one of them is going to be very wrong. I don't see it being in the middle. I can see the Conservatives either really taking it to the Liberals, or if the NDP and Liberal voters join forces en masse, they could eke out a minority win, which would be, of course, terrible for this country. But that being said, right, I mean, this is good news. Yeah, because Leger and Abacus, they have a very good track record. And I know a lot of pollsters are rated A+ here, but even like Abacus, well, Abacus is only rated A-, but Ipsos is an A+, but that might change, right? I mean, you're going to see some people after this next election go, okay, I don't trust this pollster, I don't trust this pollster, and they're going to look at people who have a good track record, because for a lot of people, this is one of the most important, if not the most important election of their lifetime. Right? This is a big deal. We've had 10 years of Liberals. We cannot have another 4. It cannot happen. I think we all know that. I'm kind of stating the obvious here, but I mean, we got to make sure that the Conservatives get in, and not just get in. We need a majority. Because if we're a minority, then the other parties can just stop the Conservatives from what they want to do by joining forces, right? I mean, it's just not good enough to win the minority. And the one thing I like about this poll too is it actually had, like, usually polls will have around 1,000 people sample size, which is not a very big amount. So I mean, 1,548, it's not that big either, but it is a bigger sample size, and it came out in favor of the Liberals, or in the Conservatives' favor rather. So I mean, this is good news. Hopefully this trend continues. Hopefully when we check out, or when we actually go to vote, people get out and vote, no one's complacent, and we get out there and vote Conservative en masse. Now, the last thing I want to show you here is the Poly market, which is just a betting market basically. So after Pierre Poilievre the other day was at 69%, he took a pretty big drop down to 61, but now he's back up to 64. So I mean, that's good news for him. He's at about a 2-1 favorite. So, 60, well, they're saying 65%. I don't know if that's updated yet, but it's good news either way, right? Betting market's trending up. The polling are kind of starting to trend back to the Conservatives having a 10-point plus lead again. So this is great news. It's not over by any chance, by any stretch of the imagination. We have to still make sure we have to get motivated, and we have to motivate others to get out and vote as well. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Please do not be shy. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps grow this channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back shortly with a new video.